end here, number 5. It's sideways. It could drop any time now. They're rubbing up. Late start by the Rocco. Good start, though, by Albertine and Huffman. 17. Damon Huffman, $1,000 richer. It's Huffman, Albertine, Emig in great shape. Lamson is next. And Jeremy McGrath is on the inside, blocking out Lamson.
Looks like we lost Mike Craig down there in the first turn. He went down with Jeff Matasevich and looked like Ryan Huffman. Craig is a long shot, even longer now.
Whoa, good save right there by Albertine. He tried to tuck it around Damon Huffman. Wasn't a whole lot of room right there. Look at this, Emig.
Would this be something for Damon Huffman? Here you have a team that doesn't have a team manager. Damon Huffman and Jeff Emig, 1 and 2 with Albertine, gunning with McGrath for number 3.
Way in the back of the pack, we got the 3 Yamaha.
Oh, going down. It's Jeremy McGrath moving into 3rd now with Albertine hitting the deck. Look at the ruts.
Well, you can see how tough it is, why he would go down right there. Look at his clutch lever. It's bent all the way down. He's trying to fix it, but right now he's losing valuable time. Mike Craig just went by on his left.
Let's take another look.
Watch Albertine right here in 3rd.
Cut the back wheel.
He just caught the back tire of Jeff Emig. In fact, that happened to Jeff Emig in practice to the back end of Doug Henry. That little corkscrew before the finish has proved to be tricky so far tonight.
Out in front, it's Damon Huffman and his teammate Jeff Emig with Jeremy McGrath. 5 bike links back in 3rd. Then it's Larry Ward. Steve Lamson's finest start of the season. And then Ryan Hughes, Mike Kedrowski, and Bradshaw.
What I started to say before we saw Albertine go down is all 3 Yamaha riders got really bad starts. They're coming up as a group. It's Lusk, then Wyndham and Henry. They're outside the top 10. Let's see what kind of teamwork they can put together.
Henry in 13th place. Damon Huffman now trying to move out his lead a little bit more in 1st place. Boy, the Yamaha riders riding together every day, but they don't want to be riding together here tonight.
Not that far back. You can see Jeremy looked like he made up a little bit of time on Emig, but then he lost it again. Now Larry Ward starting to close up to the rear tire of Jeremy. So once again,
Lamson hits the rear tire of Ward and loses time. Mike Kedrowski moving up on Lamson.
And also Ryan Hughes makes his move. So all the Kawasaki guys in the top 5 looking strong here tonight. It's been a little bit of a tough season for all of them, but they're getting it together now.
Well, this is Bradshaw's finest start, too. He can make a move, especially if things happen up front.
There you see him coming off that huge plateau jump. Even if they jump it right, you see how hard they land. Jeremy with a huge impact there.
Damon Huffman holding on well. Emig losing it to the ground. Here comes Jeremy now trying to pick up on his old rival Jeff Emig. McGrath closing in, takes the inside route. Doesn't get clipped, but picks up a lot of space.
Well, he keeps going to the inside in that corner, and it looks like he's going to make a move, but then those guys come from the outside with all that extra momentum. Open the lead back up. This time Jeremy is still a little closer than he was the last lap.
Jeff Emig going through those whoops beautifully.
Hey, does anyone know if one of the Kawasaki personnel quit this week? Because it seems like every time someone leaves, Emig wins. Now they got Huffman up there, too.
I don't know who he's going to dedicate the race to next. Damon Huffman, though. What a great surprise this is for Huffman, because he had a lousy start. Little nagging injuries. 11th in the 1st round. He had a promising 4th, and then it turned into a 19th in Phoenix. 11th and an 8th place. Here he is out leading at Atlanta.
Now you can see how far back the Team Yamaha riders are. Still outside the top 10, but their pace is quick. They're not making up any ground. They're just staying the same with everybody. Everyone's riding so hard right now.
Huffman, Emig, McGrath, Ward, and Hughes are top 5.
Damon Huffman he's really been one of those types of guys that says, well, I'm going to just play my cards right, be realistic, shoot for the top 5, and then when I get a couple of those, shoot for the top 3. Well, he hasn't been in the top 3 lately, but he's certainly had the pace to ride it. My concern for him now is his conditioning with the arm pump. He's got the most pressure he could have right now. It's a little better because it's his teammate, but if his arms start to pump up, that's what happened to him last week, and he dropped fast.
Oh, Larry Ward losing valuable time, coming down real hard on the bars that time behind Jeremy McGrath. He's 3rd in the points, the top independent. He has 2 podiums, 2 3rd places.
You know, we saw Jeremy and Larry Ward get together last week in Indianapolis in a similar battle for 3rd and 4th, but they both went backwards in the field. I hope that doesn't happen here again tonight. And right there we we saw Wirtz. He's losing a little more time to Jeremy. Jeremy's pulled right up on Emig's back tire.
They're spreading out except for second place. Jeremy, only one bike link away from Henry. Started in 15th, is now moved up to 10th as we take a look at Lamson. And now Emig and Jeremy McGrath.
Every now and then, Jeremy just comes out of nowhere. He was actually quite a ways behind as they entered the whoops. He made up all kinds of time on Emig. Now Emig's lost a little bit of time to the leader, Huffman. You see how hard they land off that finish line jump. Taking a lot out of these guys every lap.
Still a lot more racing to go. Who will win the second round, or I should say the sixth round here in the 250s? We'll be back to find out. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia. Huffman, his best start of the year, is our leader as we take a look for the battle at second place. Jeff Emig, number 1, Jeremy McGrath, looking for his fourth podium, but also looking for his first win of the season.
It may take Jeremy a while to win. I mean, look at what he's riding, the best he's ridden in quite a while. Looks great out there. He looked good in his heat race. Still wasn't able to pick up a win. Things this year are a lot tougher than they were last year for McGrath.
A lot of adjusting on that bike. He only got the effort together, his own racing team, with less than a week to build the bike and also get all the contracts signed and everything else. So it's only natural. I'm surprised, really, he's done as well as he has this year with so many podiums. Here he comes with the big race on, trying to get around Jeff Emig. Seals him off. Jeff Emig, a good bang-bang performance.
And Jeremy knew that was coming, too. That's how exciting that rhythm section is. The way the track designers built this, they had different timing. Jeremy looked over, knew Emig was coming, I think rather expected it. He did a good job of staying up. Imagine what that feels like, having a 200-pound motorcycle with a guy on it running India.
That's the old Jeremy. I feel like the clock's ticking on Emig right now. And as these two battle for second, Huffman sneaking away.
This is a sport that you have to make it quick. Jeff Emig turned around telling us he doesn't feel old, but the sands of time are running fast.
My maturity and the way that I look at things is different than like, let's say 2 or 3 years ago. And I know that, you know, that the end of my career is going to be coming up here in a few years or whatever. I mean, you know, I don't really set any dates, but I know that it's coming, and I have to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish, and there's no better time than now.
That's something else, to be 26 and feel that 2 or 3 more years is all you have left.
You know, further back in the pack, Larry Ward had a problem. He went down or something, lost some space. Down he's Ryan Hughes in 4th, and Lamson, like Huffman, putting in his best race. He's up to 5th now.
He's in 6th place, Larry Ward.
Things are looking really good for Kawasaki at the moment. They got the first 2 spots, and they got 4th. But Lamson's coming hard. Starting to put a lot of pressure on Rhino.
Huffman has been able to stretch it out to 3.5 seconds on the second place rider, Jeff Emig.
Stanton down there in the first corner, just yelling at Lamson, come on! Throwing his headset, trying to get him fired up, whatever it takes.
Hughes in 4th, Lammy in 5th, number 4 on the Team Honda. His best performance of the year. This has got to make Wes McCoy feel like jumping up and down. Ooh, a little bobble right there in the corner. Here comes MK on the Honda of Troy, number 100. Mike Kudrowski. He's looking for his best finish of the year before going to his favorite track, Daytona. Don't
count out LaRocco right behind these two guys. LaRocco's a strong finisher last week, fastest guy on the racetrack.
He's 6 seconds behind Jeremy McGrath. McGrath in 3rd.
You know, that little love tap that Jeff Emig gave Jeremy seemed to knock a little bit of the wind out of sails of McGrath. He's dropped off considerably, probably about 4 seconds at this point.
It's hard to tell from our vantage point, but Jeff jumped into him pretty good. It could have bent Jeremy's front brake lever or done something like that. It could have slowed him down. He could be just trying to bide his time right now and get a second win and make a charge at the end when lappers are a little bit more of a factor.
Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Brian, over halfway, you just put up a sign saying have fun. This could be a big turning point for his year, couldn't it?
Oh yeah, he's out in front, he hasn't been there, and Jeff has been a hard charger.
This could be the first Kawasaki win in the Dome since 95? Well, we're only going back a couple of years then. But the first ever Supercross win for Damon Huffman as we take a look backward. Henry is now in 9th behind Bradshaw. This is another battle. Lamson and Kedrowski. Lamson is moved up in front of MK, but MK is coming back into the action. Number 100. Don't let that fool you. You fans who've been away from the United States for a little while. MK retired and came back after a year off.
Challenge them through the whoops. At the pace these guys are riding, it's a great track design, but their pace is so quick. There's only one really fast line. You can try somewhere else, but unless the guy makes a mistake, you can't make the pass. I think Kedrowski right now, the pace he seems to be running, as anxious as he looks, if he can get around Lamson, he may be able to challenge Ryan.
Lamson having trouble. MK cuts underneath. Here comes LaRocco, number 5.
That's what it takes. Got to keep the pressure on. With Kedrowski keeping the pressure on. And Ryan Hughes has gone down the first corner. So that moves Kedrowski into 4th.
And here comes LaRocco putting the block pass on Steve Lamson. LaRocco doing a great job. Huffman and Emig still out in front with McGrath in 3rd. Emig has been able to pull up just a little bit on Huffman out in 1st place. As we take a look back in the pack with number 5, Mike LaRocco trying to get some space now on Steve Lamson. Mike Kedrowski's his next target.
You know, David, we were talking about Ricky Carmichael's first win earlier. Your first win. Is Huffman starting to think about that now? He's out front. He's got about 8 laps to go. Is that in the back of his mind?
I'll bet you there's just about everything in the back of his mind, and that's got to be one of them. The other thing that's in the back of his mind, and right behind him, is that number 3. That's like Earnhardt right now. Emig's been hot. He's won a couple of races. He's got the experience to take this race all the way to the last lap. Remember, Huffman had a chance to win in Seattle, it looked like, with McGrath, and only a few laps remaining, he stalled it.
Yeah, but there's no Rick Hendricks team up there swooping all the air. Anything can happen, even if your teammates in this game when the win is on the line.
I think at this point, Emig's got to know, and believe me, you think a lot of things out there on the racetrack sometimes besides just the racetrack. Emig's doing the math in his head, knows that Henry's pretty far back in the pack. He could pick up the points lead tonight.
Emig cutting the lead to 3 seconds. We take a look at Mike Kedrowski, hoping to fend off Mike LaRocco. It's interesting. A lot of the guys avoiding those big ruts now, taking the cleaner method, not the faster line.
And the faster line is, of course, the deeper rut. And if you're in front of somebody, like in the case of Kedrowski right now with LaRocco breathing down his neck, should he take the fast line and go for the deep rut, or...
LaRocco cuts to the inside, sending the MK to the outside. Oh, what a great battle. Mike LaRocco has got the fastest bike on the track right now. Former teammates battling it out.
The next guy in LaRocco's sights is McGrath. And the pace that LaRocco's got, he could catch him.
Yes, very much so.
I'll tell you, Mike LaRocco is the last guy that Jeremy probably wants to see in his rearview mirror right now.
Yeah.
Because LaRocco is the strongest guy in the second half of these races, Doug Henry notwithstanding.
Here comes LaRocco trying to put the move. Here's our leader, Damon Huffman, who has been very cool out in front.
He seems to gain a little bit on Emig in certain places, and then he'll lose a little bit of time, then gain it right back. So he's got enough speed, and he's been playing his cool. Problem is now he's got a few lappers to contend with before he gets to that finish line.
As you see coming into the picture, Huffman, a 2-time 125 Western champion, as he strung together 6 straight wins back in 1995, so he knows what it's like to win. He knows what it's like to get out in front. He just hasn't had this opportunity this year. Last year in Supercross, got the injured ACL. They did not operate, but it took him out of operation for a long time and a lot of hard rehab coming back. The Honda stopwatch in our screen right now to check out the lap time and interval, as there goes a lapper through the picture.
About 3 seconds back to Emig now. So keeping about the same distance. It fluctuates just a little.
Oh, it's good to see Mike Kedrowski coming back with such flair. There's Bradshaw, number 10. Number 20, Doug Henry, moving up in the pack.
The lap times have been about 53, 54 seconds, so 25 seconds down is half a lap. It's very frustrating for Henry, knowing he's got the speed to lead this race. The start makes all the difference. Ask Huffman.
This would certainly move Huffman up in the ranks as right now he's chasing behind Phil Lawrence, getting by fairly easily on the finish line jump. But Emig now is starting to move in.
They're turning at 53.5 there. Huffman, as you can see, the track's breaking down a little bit. What we talked about earlier, thrown out the window. The track's starting to get some ruts in it. It's starting to get rough. That might be Emig's best chance at this point, but boy, Huffman looks smooth.
Henry in 8th place is the points leader, but Emig is just a few points behind him, 17 points. He could certainly scrunch up things.
Well, it'll change that completely. 17-point lead is not that far away from entire race, scoring 25 for the win. That's going to close up, change things dramatically heading into Daytona.
Doug Henry holding on to his cool after a slow start, moving up the ranks.
You know, and if McGrath holds on to 3rd place, it's going to give him a chance to unlap himself in the points. He has 25 down coming in. It's going to help him considerably as well.
Absolutely. But Mike LaRocco is only 2.5 seconds behind him. Oh, we're going to have a great finish here in Atlanta. Something unusual usually always happens here in Atlanta, guys. It used to be the track conditions. Outside in Fulton County Stadium, you had rain, you had snow, you had sleet. Inside here in the Dome, lots of ruts in the past.
Not giving Huffman any problems, like Davey said. He looks so smooth. It almost looks like he's not, as he passes Ryan Hughes and Greg Albertine, guys that are trying their hardest to work their way up from behind. It looks like Huffman's going slower, but he's just riding so smooth, not using hardly any energy. He's not one of the most buff guys you'll find out there on the racetrack, but he knows how to get the job done. His arms and legs are strong enough to support that body.
Okay, taking a look at Huffman. This is the white flag coming out for him as we see Mike LaRocco behind him. It is Huffman, Emig, McGrath battling LaRocco. This is the final lap.
Huffman's got a pretty good lead still. He can afford a mistake here and there and still hang on to this, and he's got no lapped riders in front of him. But for Jeremy McGrath, he's got LaRocco breathing down his neck. LaRocco jumping all the way over that camel jump, makes a little time. Look how close they are now.
It's interesting to see Jeremy McGrath having to ride conservative, having to ride for points, not victories.
It's been that kind of year, Art.
That may pay off in the end, but not quite as glamorous as winning 14 races.
Absolutely. Well, right now, this guy, his heart has got to be jumping out of his body. Damon Huffman. The checkers flag for Damon Huffman. His first Supercross win ever. In the 250 ranks, Jeremy McGrath holding off Mike LaRocco. Valuable points for Jeremy in 3rd. Damon Huffman, yes, he's saying to himself, I knew I could do it all along. His first 250 Supercross win. Our hats off to this young man, Damon Huffman. Not only his first ever Supercross victory in the 250 ranks, but it's also Kawasaki's 3rd Supercross victory of the season. Brian Lennis getting handshakes of congratulations. And there's number 17 as he waves to his fans. Huffman, Emig, McGrath, LaRocco, Kudrowski, Lammy took a 6th, Bradshaw 7th, Henry. As we go down the list of finishers for our 250 main event here in Atlanta, we'll be back with words from Damon Huffman and Marty Reed in a moment. A record crowd here at the Georgia Dome to see Damon Huffman beat his teammate Jeff Emig. Emig, though, moving up in points, doing a great job. Jeremy McGrath hanging into the points battle there with another fine podium performance. And speaking of podium, as we looked at those 6 through 10 finishers, let's go down to Marty Reed with a very happy, I'm sure, Damon Huffman.
No one knows at home how much and how hard the road has been for this man since last year's injury. Congratulations. Here's the extra grand for making the whole shot work. And congratulations on a great run.
Unbelievable. You know, I lined up a little farther outside than I wanted to, but it was such a long start. I knew if I just kept on shifting, my bike would pull me out in front. And my Kawasaki ran awesome. Brian Lundes did an excellent job on the bike, and you know, it's been just real hard for me all year. And finally this week I really trained hard, and it's the best I felt all year long, and I'm just real happy.
Congratulations. That's the first place finish. Now the second place for Kawasaki and some valuable points because I got an 8th place by unofficial count for Doug Henry, so you picked up some big points.
Yeah, well, that's all fine and dandy, but, man, I really wanted to win that race. I didn't want to let the young guy take it, but, man, Damon rode a great ride. I mean, I was really working to, to try to pick up the time on him, and I'd catch it, and then he'd gain it back. He'd take it right back, so I'd like to give him a congratulations, as my teammate and all. He rode an awesome race.
The guys were kidding upstairs. They said, well, somebody must have quit because another Kawasaki's going to win.
Yeah, the son of a gun. He took my my $1,000 hole shot point fund I'm used to. Man, he's just trying to take all the dough out of my pocket.
What a team. And they said, oh, the Kawasaki team might be in chaos with no team leader, but these guys individually with their mechanics are doing the job.
They're riding fantastically, especially Jeff Emig. I know that he didn't get the win tonight, but I think when he sits down and thinks about how important all those points are that he gained, he's going to be very happy with that finish.
Yeah, as we take a look at the Suzuki point standings, Henry still barely holding on to the lead with Emig moving up big time. Ward took the big drop. Jeremy McGrath is still pushing those top leaders in the point situation. Larocco helping his situation out. Let's go back to Marty.
Yeah, we've caught up with Jeremy McGrath down here. The guys made mention up top. After the contact, you made an all-out effort to get by Emig. From that point on, it seemed like the gap widened. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I made a good pass on Jeff. I went around him, fair and square. I think he had a little bit too much momentum when we went in that corner and rammed into me. And I don't know, it wasn't too bad. It was just smashed my pipe.
So you lost a little horsepower, you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay, so that's it from Jeremy McGrath. We'll see you again, round 7. Maybe he'll crack the win streak then.
Guys, you could tell with the look on his face, he really